Hello, everybody, and welcome to this talk. This talk is a part of an COP29 simulation where we are going to investigate together some general aspects related to the role of both solar energy and fuel cells in climate change problem. So, first of all, let me introduce myself. This is Samah Abdul Latif, Associate Professor of Electronics and Semiconductor Devices at the Electrical Engineering Department, Faculty of Engineering, the British University in Egypt. And as I just mentioned, today our talk is a general talk considering the role of both solar energy and fuel cell to deal with problems related to climate change. And mainly the focus here will be toward the carbon dioxide emission and how we can reduce the carbon dioxide emission using such type of renewable energy sources. Before going into the details of this lecture, let me first start with an apologize. And apologize for experts, I mean those within renewable energy or deep electronics or chemical engineering background, because most likely you will find this lecture a bit shallow with respect to your background. As I mentioned, it's a general talk. And also, and apologize for non-technical person if you feel this lecture a bit deep technically. I tried to do my best in order to compromise between giving some important information from my perspective and uh, trying not to go deep into technical issues that makes some sort of boring for non-technical audience. So I hope I will provide some useful information to my respected audience who are attending this COP29 simulation. Okay, let's go with some um, common uh, information. Maybe most of people who visited UK or especially who visited London will know this information. So if you go to London, my last visit to London was in 2020. I'm not sure about what is the condition now. But during this visit, I have recognized that whenever this famous London bus uh, reached any stop, it turns off. The driver turns off the motor. And actually, I start to think about what is the reason beyond, because as you know, stops are very close to each other. So in 5 to 10 minutes each time he or she acted to turn off the motor and then turn it on again and so on. And when I search about that, it was part of the UK policy in order to reduce the carbon dioxide emission. Because you generally, if you go to the standard average about the carbon dioxide emission produced from a vehicle with each kilometer move, you will find that this number is varying from 60 to 170 gram of carbon dioxide emission. And of course, this depends on the type of the vehicle, its motor size, its lifetime, and a lot of issues. That's why the UK government have acted to do some sort of policies in order to reduce the carbon dioxide emission across the country. And one of these policies were to enforce drivers to stop their motors by reaching each station. Here it comes to us to a very important question. What type of carbon dioxide emissions do we have? We have some sort of a carbon dioxide emissions that is an action due to energy consumption. So when we consume energy, we produce carbon dioxide, like the case for vehicles. Whenever the vehicle moves, it produces some sort of carbon dioxide. But there is also another type of carbon dioxide emission, which is from my perspective is as important as the consuming part, which is the production phase. I think most of you know that whenever we start to generate electrical energy, which is one of the very important types of energy we have across our world, whenever we start to produce electrical energy, one of the main sources to produce electrical energy is to use fossil fuels. And when you use fossil fuels to produce electrical energy, you automatically emit carbon dioxide. So we can say that we have two major types of carbon dioxide emission. One type related to energy production, like the case when we produce electrical energy, and another type is related to energy consumption when we, for example, move an electrical vehicle or a motor or whatever the type of engines that emit carbon dioxide. So in this talk, we are going to focus mainly on the production side, how we can reduce the carbon dioxide emission coming from the production side. And here you can see an important data illustration for how the production of electrical energy can produce a huge amount of carbon dioxide emission. And this is an example related to US across 20 years, from 2020 to 20, so from 2000 to 2020. And you can see the factor of coal and natural gas and petroleum are the three main fossil fuel elements used to produce electrical energy. And here, a lot of carbon dioxide emission should be expected. So, in this regard, the utilization of renewable energy resources become something promising in order to reduce the carbon dioxide emission due to energy production from fossil fuels. Especially in this talk, we are going to focus on two types of energy production, or renewable energy production. The first is one is the solar energy production, and the second one is one type of the hydrogen energy production, which is using fossil fuels, because generally the hydroelectrical energy production is a very big discipline that includes different technologies. So the content of this lecture will be only limited to fuel cells. Okay, so let's start with these two types, the hydrogen fuel cells and the solar cells. Before going into more details in this regard, I will make this first stop for you in case you have any question before proceeding to the next part of our lecture. So back to our talk, and as I mentioned just before the stop, that we are considering two types of renewable energy in this talk. The first one is related to what we call solar cells, or we can use a technical term defined by Einstein maybe 100 years ago, which is photovoltaic. So simply, the word photovoltaics represent the general idea beyond the solar cells. So if you consider the first half of the word, which is photon, which is representing to the photonic input, represented in photons, or the light incident to the solar cell. And the second part, which is the voltaic part, related to the output, which is the electrical energy. So as maybe most of you already know, the general idea of solar cells or solar panels or photovoltaics is the concept of converting solar energy coming from the sun or maybe from any other type of lighting sources. So we can call it generally radiance, but mostly we are considering sun because sun is the hugest source of light in our world. And the output is in a form of an electrical energy. So herein, it's very important, especially for my respected non-technical users or non-technical audience inside, to know a very critical difference between two scientific terms. As I promise you, I will not going into technical details because, again, this is a general talk for everyone. But indeed, we have to realize, even if you are a non-technical person, you have to realize the difference between the power and the energy. So simply, a power is a unit to measure the wattage capacity of an equipment. For example, if you go to any sort of a hypermarket and you buy this lamp, this old lamp, tungsten lamp with 70 watt power. And I told you, okay, can you please expect the increase in your electricity bill due to this lamp? So after you will put on this lamp in your home, how much how extra money you are going to pay due to this lamp? Simply, you are not able to answer this question because what I defined to you is the power given by this lamp, which is a 70 watt power. But in order to know the energy, you have to make a multiplication between the power and the time. So, for example, if you use this lamp 10 hours a day, the energy consumed in your house due to this lamp is 70 times 10, which is 700. And the unit here is called watt hour. So per day, you are going to pay for this 700 watt hour. Another person will turn on this lamp for 24 hours, then he will going to pay 70 times 24. A third person will not use the lamp, or he will put it on, but he will not turn it on. So he will pay nothing. So the energy is the energy, yes, is a concrete function in time. But the power is a standard function. So any device, either a consuming device as the lamp, or even a generating or a supplying device like those renewable energy sources we are going to illustrate in this talk, has a wattage. But this wattage has no meaning with respect to energy without considering the factor of time. Maybe later on we will see some examples to illustrate this concept in more detail. Okay, so for this slide, we can distinguish between the word power and the word energy. And as I just mentioned, although those who deal with physics like myself are usually use the unit joule to represent energy, but in the field of energy harvesting or renewable energy, we usually use the unit watt hour, which is simply, as I just described, it's a multiplication between the power in watt and the time in hours. So 70 watt in 10 hours, it comes 700 watt and so on. But okay, so this is a general definition. Again, if we go to our concept, our solar cells or solar energy concept is to turn the light coming from the sun into electricity. So what is light coming from the sun? This is simply a curve for the space, for the light coming from the sun across the space. So if you go to space outside the Earth envelope and you go to the space and you measure the radiance, you will find this curve. And this curve is very famous curve considering the three main types or categories of light. I mean, the ultraviolet, the visible, and the infrared. I believe all of you know this. This is some sort of a general information that the visible light is this light that a human eye can see. When you go with higher wavelengths, you go to what's called the infrared, and when we go to lower wavelengths, you go to what's called an ultraviolet. But going through the atmosphere surrounding the Earth, this spectrum starts to change, till we reach this blue spectrum. This blue spectrum is the total solar energy coming from the Earth. So in this regard, this solar energy, which is inputted to our solar panel, is going to be converted into electrical energy. So it's an energy conversion process. You convert solar energy into electrical energy. The percentage between what you get from what you take is the efficiency. For example, I input 100 from the sun, I converted 10 to electrical energy, then the efficiency is 10%, which is 10 over 100. So I convert only 10% from what I got from the sun. This is the definition of for efficiency. And this is a very important definition whenever you would like to know about different categories of the solar energy systems. So this is a very, very famous map to illustrate different efficiencies. So you can see here different technologies starting from a monocrystalline silicon technology. We have also thin film technology. We have this relatively new types of solar cells, considering organic solar cells and so on. And these are the efficiencies. So if you go to the monocrystalline one, which is usually in purple, if you go to silicon, typically silicon, you will find silicon in the crystalline silicon. This is relatively blue one. You will find silicon in the early 20%, so 20, 21, 22, reaching 25%. This is relatively a high percentage. Standard-wise, if you go to the commercial solar cells, which are usually used on market, so you will find that in the range of between 17 to 20%. That means that you are converting about 20% from what you get from the sun. You are converting about 20% from what you get. And this is a famous also irradiance map showing the level of irradiance across the world. And we have what we call here the hot belt, or this belt where the radius is relatively high. Fortunately, Egypt is one of the countries where we have a high level of irradiance, and this is the equator. So whenever you go to the poles, you are expecting a reduced level of radiance and so on. And here, returning to the very important point is the watt and the power and the time. So on average, across the Earth, we got about 1 kilowatt hour of solar radiance per meter square per day. This is what we call the equivalent sun hour. So per equivalent sun hour, we got 1K. So 1K means 1,000. So if I told you that the average efficiency of a solar cell is in the terms of 20%, that means that you are going to take 20% of this number per meter square per equivalent sun hour. So for each 1,000, you are going to take 20%. So 20% from this 1,000 is simply 200. So on average, you can generate 200 watt hour or 0.2 kilowatt hour per day per meter square across the Earth. But now this is some sort of a power. How can we turn it into energy? So to turn it into energy, we use this equivalent sun hour. The equivalent sun hour is simply indicate an equivalent number that can describe how many effective or equivalent hours your solar cell is going to work. So this is an example for Netherlands. Let's make this example. If I told you that the average wattage of the average efficiency of a solar cell is 20%. Then you will going to tell me, okay, this 1K, this is a 1,000. I'm going to take 20% from this 1,000, which is 200 or 0.2 kilo. This is for one equivalent sun hour. In Netherlands, the average sun hour is equivalent sun hour is 3.4. So my total input with respect to this system per day will be simply to multiply the 200 watts times 3.4. If you multiply 200 watts times 3.4, which will be 3 times 200 will be 600, and 0.4 times 200 will be 50. So you are considering about 650 watt hour per meter square per day. So if you install a solar panel in Netherlands, this solar panel will give you per day 650 watt hour, of course, per meter square, per a unit area of a meter square. This is simply how we can determine the energy coming from a solar system. Herein, we have two general types of solar energy systems. The first one, what we call the on-grid. And first of all, again, due to our non-technical audience, we have to define the word grid. The grid is simply the public electricity network in any country. So in any country across the world, you have an electricity network that provide electricity across the country. We call this a grid. So if your system is going to be connected to the grid, as you can see this double arrow, that means you're on an on-grid system. Okay, so what is the concept beyond connecting your PV system or your solar energy system to the grid? It's a very simple concept, and I can illustrate it in a very brief manner. Let's assume that you installed a solar energy system in the roof of your building, and simply in the morning, no one in the house because your parents, your family are outside for work, for school, for university, whatever it is. But on the other hand, on the morning, the sun is shining. So on the morning, you are extracting energy because the sun is shining. The solar cell is going to convert this energy, this solar energy into electrical energy. But on the other hand, there is no one to use this energy. What will happen in this system is you are going to give this energy to the grid. You are going to sell this energy to the government. Afternoon, or by the evening, you are going to return back home. And the sun is going to set. So in this case, as far as you return back to your home, you will start to use, or you're start to consume electricity, but no sun, no input. Then you are going to use the second arrow. You are going to supply, or you are going to get energy from the grid to your house. So in the morning, you give energy to the grid, while in the afternoon or in the evening, you take energy from the grid. This is what we call an on-grid system. So the system is connected to the grid. On the other hand, you can make what we can call an off-grid system. What is an off-grid system? Simply, you are detached from the grid. So you are working as a standalone system without the need of the grid. In this case, in order to work during night where there is no sun, you have to have what we can call a secondary source. This secondary source can be a battery. So you are going to store energy in the morning in batteries, and you are going to reuse this energy during the evening. or it can be a generator, a fossil fuel-based generator, where you give this generator fuel and generate electrical energy. So this is a secondary source, because simply you need this battery or this generator simply because no sun in the evening. So, and you need to consume energy in the evening. That's why you have to have this secondary source, even not only due to the evening being, even though you can have also some what we can call a cloudy days where there is no sun. So you have to have a secondary source in the case of the off-grid system. Okay, so moving forward about the current status of the utilization of solar energy systems across our world, you can see from this graph, let's start from the top left graph, I think, yes, that only about 7% of our currently consumed energy are using renewable energy. And of course, this is a very low percentage. Maybe we are going to consider some challenges related to the utilization of renewable energy sources in the next slides. But this is really a low percentage. Only 7% are due to renewable energy. This 7% is distributed in this way. Now you can go to the right graph, where you can see only 11% is due to solar. We have wind, we have hydroelectrical, and also we have other types, maybe biomass and all other types of energy generation from renewable energy. So from the 7%, only 11% of due to solar. And again, back to the left side, but now in the bottom left side, you can see the distribution where China is the leading in terms of using solar energy in the grid connected way with 33%. And then we have US, Germany, and Japan. These are the top 4 countries utilizing solar energy. But going into forecasting, you will find something great. This forecasting related to US, where they are expecting to have 20% of their electricity generation using renewable energy resources by 2050. And this is really an amazing number whenever it comes to, because 20% is a major percentage in a big country like the US. But as I told you, usually the utilization of solar energy or any renewable energy source in general is associated with a set of challenges. And due to the limited time of this talk, I think it's impossible to consider each and every challenge in this manner. But at least we can say that we have 2 major challenges, I would say. What I can say that it's an economic challenge and environmental challenge. The word economic challenge may be related to the relatively high initial cost needed to install a PV system. That's why there is always a debate between should we go with strategic big solutions or we go with individual solutions. Some countries supporting individual solutions and supporting that residentials and small commercial units start to put their PV system and feed the grid and so on. Other countries are toward making a big planet, big PV systems and so on. This is very debatable and can definitely change from one country to another and from one time to another due to a lot of economic aspects. On the other hand, we have what we can call an environmental challenges. For example, one of the very big problems facing solar energy is the temperature. Solar energy performance is highly degraded due to high temperature. And in a lot of cases, we recorded overestimated sizing, by the way, the word sizing is simply mean the calculations related to the expected energy generation from this unit. So you expect X and you get Y, where Y is smaller than X. So X was overestimated. And one of the main reasons for this overestimating performance is the temperature. Because simply when the one who started to design the planet, he did not consider the effect of temperature in this place. And of course, in countries like Egypt and other countries with high irradiance level, most likely they have relatively high temperature as well. So considering temperature during PV sizing is something very critical. And the second most important aspect, and in Egypt and in other worlds as well, very, very important, is related to the PV clean. Although the operational cost of a PV tends to be zero, because usually it's long lifetime operation. You are considering 20 plus years of operation. Maybe only you need to make a very simple checks regarding the electrical connection and so on, which costs nothing. Of course, sometimes you need to change the inverter each 10 years, which is still a good lifetime. But the main problem related to the operation of a PV system, and personally, I know more than 25% of the cases I worked in with a PV installation, there is a significant reduction in energy due to the absence of a regular cleaning to the solar cells. Cleaning solar cells or not or absence of cleaning of a solar cells may lead to a very critical problem. Temporarily, it make a very huge reduction in the energy. And permanently, it can cause some sort of cracks, which lead to an overall or a full failure to the module. So one of the very important aspects here, whenever you install a PV system, and what I am usually doing in my work, is to train workers there to make regular cleaning, and even you should monitor them, at least in a bi-weekly manner, that they perform cleaning in the correct manner to sustain this source the longest time possible. Okay, so this concludes the first part related to the solar energy. In the next part, inshallah, I'm going to illustrate something about hydrogen fuel cells, and then I will show you some real cases considering a small trials or a small attempts we did in the British University in Egypt in order to make a real visualization or real prototyping to different energy systems with different scale. Thank you very much for your concentration and looking forward to part number 2.